Hello everybody, this is Kirsten here. Welcome back to the Balanced Vibes podcast and YouTube channel. Today we are talking about 10 reasons why you may not be seeing the results that you want to see when we're talking about physique, the way your body looks. Now, if you don't want to change how your body looks, that's perfectly fine. And I want you to understand that the way your body looks has nothing to do with your self-worth and value. But if you are somebody who wants to be a little bit fitter, wants to feel a little bit leaner, a little bit lighter, for yourself so that you can feel better, then I totally understand why you want to change your body a little bit. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. Please just own this choice and talk about it. Say that, okay, this is really what I want, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. I just have to say that for a very long time, I was kind of ashamed of it because I was really, really immersed in this body positivity culture that seemed to sometimes say that it's wrong to change your body. And I'm sure that not everybody in the body positivity community say that, but there are a lot of people who do. And I just want you to know that it's totally normal to want to change for yourself, to feel better, to look better. Yes, not a crime. So what do you do if you just want to change your body, but nothing is happening? And you have been working out regularly and still not seeing any change. And today's topic is inspired by another question that I got, just like many other podcast episodes and whatever I post on social media. It's usually inspired by someone's question or comment. And this comment was like, okay, I know that I burned myself out in the past, and I just, I'm recovered now. I'm totally healthy. My hormones are healthy. And I have exercised regular for 1.5 years now. So about like 18 months, but nothing is changing. And everybody told me that, you're just going to lose fat naturally, but my body is not changing. What is going on? It's so frustrating. And I totally understand that because it is frustrating. If you gained a lot of weight that you didn't want to gain. Okay, you had to do it. You understand it. You know why this was necessary. But then after that, you would still hope that, maybe something would change a little bit. Like, I just want to feel a bit leaner. So what do you do? So today I want to share with you 5 things when it comes to your workouts and 5 things that when it comes to your food that you may want to tweak a little bit if this is happening, if you're not seeing the results that you want to see. And let's go ahead and get started with the workout part. So the first reason why you may not be seeing the physique results that you want to see is that you're doing the wrong kinds of exercise, and that is doing more cardio and less weightlifting, or I don't know if you do any weightlifting. So if you want to change the shape of your body, if you want to have more curves, like those muscular curves, if you want to have more leaner body mass, if you just want to look kind of firmer and leaner, then you have to lift some weights. So here's what cardio does. I don't think that cardio is a bad thing. Nobody should ever do that. I don't think so. But if we are talking about physique change, the change of your body shape, then we have to lift some weights. So what cardio does, it does make you smaller, right? If you're in a caloric deficit, if you run a lot, it makes you smaller, but you still have the same body shape. So if you want to have like more sculpted shoulders, you're not going to get it from running. If you want to get rounder butt, you're not going to get it from running. So if these are your goals, then you have to do some some strength training. If these are not your goals, do whatever you like. So strength training is very, very important because when you lift heavy weights, then you're sending your muscles the signal to adapt to this weight, and as a result, they will grow. And when they grow, this is when you get that, what some people say, toned look. Weight training is important if you want to change the way your body looks. The second reason why your body may not be changing is that you are doing the wrong exercises. Okay, so let's say that now you believe me and you started doing some strength training, and you're still not seeing any results. So we have to check your exercise. What are the exercises that you're doing? Maybe you want to grow your butt and you're doing a lot of donkey kickbacks and you're doing fire hydrants, and you're like, okay, this is not working, because it's not working. It's not that these exercises are wrong or bad. They do have a purpose. And let me tell you what the purpose is for these exercises. So for example, if you want to prime your muscle, which is like to get your muscle ready for heavier weights, these exercises are excellent. I would say almost like a must to do, or some variation of them. So if you want to do heavy lifting, you want to do some squats, or you want to do some sumo deadlifts, or hip bridges, or barbell thrusts that really build your glute muscles, it's perfect to prime your muscle with those donkey kickbacks or with those fire hydrants. These are great. But these exercises alone, those kickbacks and fire hydrants, are not going to build that butt that you want to see. So You may also think, okay, I'm going to do the workouts that this celebrity or somebody on Instagram did, and this is what they did. And they have this huge, big, amazing butt, exactly what I want to have. So you want to realize that what they do, what they show you in this video, this is not how they actually built that butt, right? They built that butt, A, doing heavy workouts, and B, they probably also had really good genetics. And of course, food is important as well. So if you don't have good genetics, then you definitely have to work on that. And it is true that some people really are really lucky and they have that butt already and they have to do very little work to grow it even more. So yes, cool, great for them. Like, I'm definitely not one of them, so I have to work for it, and maybe you're that person too. And the way to get there is to really lift heavy weights, okay? The third reason why you may not be seeing the results that you want to see is that you are not lifting heavy enough weights. And this is so important, to lift heavy stuff. So let's say that your workout plan told you to lift like 8 to 10 reps today. Okay, and you finish your 10 reps and you felt like nothing. You're ready to go on to the next exercise. If that's how you felt, then you probably did not challenge yourself enough. You didn't pick up too heavy enough weights. So the way you know that the weight is right for you, and it's actually sending this signal to your muscle that your muscle wants to hear, and as a response to that, it starts growing, is that you want to do your reps so that the last one really burns, and you can barely do it with good form, and maybe you could do one more, but then no more than that, absolutely not. So I usually say leave one rep in the tank. So yeah, you just finished the last set. It was hard, it was really hard, and maybe you could do one more, but that would be it. So this is how you know that it really works. It really challenges your muscles. And like I said, if you don't even need a break after finishing a set, you're ready to jump right into the next exercise, then this is probably not doing much for your body. So I understand that, those 8-pound dumbbells, if you squat with them, if this is heavy weight for you, absolutely. So it's all, it depends on the person. What's heavy for one is not heavy for another person. But if you've been doing the same squats with 8 dumbbells forever and you don't see any change and you don't even feel like you're getting anything out of it, your muscle is not burning, your muscles don't have this feeling that, okay, it really worked it, then it's probably not working. So challenge yourself. Take a little bit heavier weights, make sure that your form is good, okay? So we don't want to do those like rounded back deadlifts and all that terrible stuff that you see a lot in bootcamp classes or when people really don't pay attention or don't know the form. You don't want to do it this way, right? You don't want to get hurt. You do want to lift heavy weights so that your form is great. Form is always the most important thing, and then comes the weight, okay? The fourth reason why you may not be seeing any results is that you are changing your program too often. So let's say that you found a program that you liked and now you did it for like 2 weeks and you just sort of got tired and got bored with it and then just jumped to another thing. And you didn't even give yourself this opportunity to see what this program could have done for you. Not the program, but doing the exercise actually, right? What they could have done for you. So if you just jump from one program to another one and to another one, then you're not going to see the results. Now, a lot of people say, but what about muscle confusion? I have to confuse my muscles all the time so that they get different stimulus and this is what makes them grow. Yes, there's some truth to it, but at the same time, you shouldn't be program hopping all the time from one to another. Instead, see what happens in 4 weeks and 8 weeks and 12 weeks, right? Because if the program is put together well, it's the right program for you. It utilizes progressive overload. Your exercise may not change like drastically. You're still gonna do a lot of the same foundational stuff. And this is how you actually get stronger, and this is how you start building real muscle. So don't get impatient when you find a good program. Follow through, follow the plan. Don't start like, okay, I'm going to try a little bit of this and I'm going to add a little bit of that over there. Just follow the program and see where it takes you. And the fifth reason, when we're talking about exercise, why you are not seeing the results that you want to see is doing absolutely random stuff. Absolutely random stuff, meaning it's even worse than program hopping because there's no structure at all. So I get it that it's probably fun to take one workout from Instagram, whatever who celebrity did that workout, and then the other workout from, YouTube, and then go back to Instagram and, oh, this was fun and that was fun. Cool, if you like it, if you just want to sweat, if you just want to move, if you just want to just kind of dance around and do stuff like that, that is great. But if this is what you mostly do, then the body is not going to change. You're not going to have that more muscular, more lean, more toned look that you want to have. So coming back to my last point, you really want to have a solid program that has some structure in it, and you're going to follow that, and you're going to do some of the same exercises, because these are the exercises that work. When you work with a personal trainer and they have you do like squats, deadlifts, some variation of rows, planks, maybe some pull-ups and push-ups, every personal trainer gives you these exercises because this stuff works. They don't give you these exercises because they don't have like imagination, or they don't have like, I don't know what to do with it, or let's just go back to basics. They give you these things because they are the best exercises for building muscle. Of course, if you have more specific goals, right? If maybe you are like a specific like performance athlete, or if you have an injury. So I work at a chiropractic clinic, so we have a lot of people with injuries, and this is where we do a lot of fire hydrants and stuff like that, because they are designed for those people. They have to work on their hip stability or leg stability and leg strength and balance and stuff like that. Okay, yes. Then there is a time and place for these exercises. But in general, if we're talking about getting stronger, if we're talking about like a healthy individual, how can they build muscle and look stronger and get leaner and also burn body fats? Then the exercises that I mentioned, they are your key. The exercise like deadlifts, squats, variations of squats, rows, push-ups, pull-ups, these are the things that come to mind. Lunges. You are going to do a lot of them. So don't waste your time on those like small 20-minute workout. Like I don't want to say they're waste of time, but if your goal is to change the way your body looks, then those quick 20-minute exercises where you do like a ton of jumping jacks and pulse squats are just not going to get you there. And if you like them, do them. If you want to get real results, if you want to look different, then I recommend that you do something else. Okay. Next thing I want to mention is your food. So there are also 5 things that I want to talk about today that may be not giving you the results that you're doing right now. And you're like, I don't know what's going on, because I seem to be eating healthy. I eat good things, and I've heard that I'm supposed to lose body fat just like that by just eating, healthy things, but I don't know what's going on. Nothing is happening. So let's get started with the first point. So the first reason why you may not be seeing results is that your calories are not high enough. Yes, it's definitely the thing. You've been under eating a lot. How can you build muscle? It's just not doable. So muscle costs a lot, let's put it that way, which means that in order to build it, you have to fuel your body. You have to put energy into your body so that your body can then build that muscle that you want to see. If you don't have enough energy in the body, how can you build? It's just not possible. And this is what we see a lot with those, runners, or like myself too. In the past, I was a runner and I did a lot of those catabolic workouts. Catabolic means basically like breaking down. And this is what running does if you do it a lot. And especially if you don't eat enough, right? So it breaks down, yes, your body fat. You lose body fat, but you also lose muscle mass if you run a lot. And now if you combine it with not eating enough calories, then there is absolutely close to 0 chance that you are going to build a stronger, leaner looking body. Okay, so the first thing was not eating enough calories. The second thing is the flip side of it, which is eating too many calories. So now if your goal is to get rid of a little bit of body fat and look leaner, but you're still in a caloric surplus all the time, then it just cannot happen. You can build some muscle, definitely, because like I just said, in order to build muscle, we have to have a lot of enough calories in our bodies, or have to give ourselves enough calories. But at the same time, if we are in a surplus, then fat loss is very difficult. So if you want to lose fat, if you want to lose some body weight, then calorie deficit is a must. And we're not talking about going crazy extreme here. So I am not telling you that you should cut your calories by 30% and this is how you lose weight. If we're talking about somebody very, very obese, then maybe 25% of what they're currently eating. But if we're talking about relatively fit and about a person who's not overweight, then we shouldn't do that high calorie deficit. But there has to be a little bit of deficit if you want to lose a little bit of body fat. And honestly, this was one thing that happened for me. So when I started doing macros in April 2020, so this year, then we did 1 week of just looking at, okay, what my calories look like right now. What do they look like, my average? And I realized, without tracking, I would not have realized it, but I did realize that my calories are higher than my maintenance. So no wonder that I stayed the same, no matter how I worked out or no matter how I ate. And although I ate healthy, right? You know, relatively speaking, healthy, I was still, you know, not necessarily gaining, but staying the same the whole time. Nothing was changing. And actually, well, I did not eat like super healthy all the time. I definitely ate more snacks and treats and sweets, which is where those extra calories came from. And again, I don't want you to think that I'm like a body negative or dieting mindset here, whatever. If this doesn't bother you, if you're happy eating this way, you know, go ahead and continue eating this way. If you don't have any goals, you know, go for it, do it. But if you just want to lose a little bit of body fat, then you cannot be in a constant caloric surplus. So in my case, we had to create me a little bit of deficit there, and this is how things started to happen. But without tracking my macros, I would not, and tracking my calories too, I would not have figured out that this is what I would have to do. Because let's face it, you know, you can eat healthy things, right? You can be like, okay, cool, I'm not, you know, starving myself. I'm eating good stuff. I'm eating like all this like peanut butter and almond butter and sweet potatoes and avocados and I don't know, like good stuff. But you can definitely overeat the good stuff too. And yes, of course, for your hormones, it's definitely very important to eat, you know, less processed foods, right? Eating mostly good quality foods. Hormonally, it's a great thing to do. But if our goal is also body fat, reducing body fat, then we can still overeat those really healthy things as well. Okay, so the third reason why you're not seeing the change that you want to see is that you may not be eating enough protein. Okay, so protein is one of the 3 macronutrients, and this is our building block, right? This is what our muscles are made of. So we cannot be low protein and hope to see the results that we want to see. Whenever I look at women's food logs, what I usually see is low protein. And I've seen anything between like 40 to like 100 grams a day, which is very low for most women. So if you want to do a little experiment, if you're not tracking anything right now, see how much you are eating. Write down one day and see, okay, how much protein did I get? And your goal should be to get 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. 0.8 grams per pound of body weight of protein, right? So protein really helps with your satiety. It also, you actually burn more calories when you eat protein out of all 3 macronutrients. This is definitely the biggest calorie burner. Of course, it's not like a huge thing. It's not that, okay, I ate protein and now I burned like 3,000 calories a day. This is not how it works. But if we compare carbs and fats and protein, then in order to be able to in order to digest the protein and break it down, we actually burn more calories than we burn for breaking down fats and carbohydrates, okay? So make sure that your protein is high. Without that, you just cannot get to your goals. Okay, the fourth reason why you may not be getting the results that you want to get is that you may not be eating enough real food, okay? So again, this is not a diet talk, right? But it is important to eat real food. Real food helps with satiety. I'm sure that everybody has tried or have had experience where they eat like tons of potato chips and it's not satiating, satisfying at all versus eating potatoes, right? There's so many other examples like that too, but I think we all have experienced that. It's so much easier to eat a lot of, processed foods and not feel full because it doesn't generally make you feel full. The other thing that very highly processed food does is that it makes you want to eat more of this food. And we talked about calories before. So real food, focus on real food. And we don't want to think, okay, 100% I have to eat clean. And when somebody says that, honestly, I don't feel very good about that because I know what that very clean eating does. It starts to just like take away your social life. It starts to just make you super anxious. You can't focus on anything because all in your mind is how clean is this food? Is this 100% clean all the time? Not this way, but the majority of your food that you are eating should really be real food, okay? Because it really helps, like I said, with your satiety. It helps you to have more energy. It gives you mental clarity. It affects your mood. And of course, you can perform your workouts better. I think we all know that we feel better when we eat mostly real foods. And of course, another thing is hormones, right? We cannot eat whatever we want, however much you want, anytime you want. I mean, we can, yes, we are adults, we can, nobody can tell us that we can't do it, but for our hormones, it is not ideal. So if we want to keep our hormones healthy, which starts, by the way, with the healthy levels of blood sugar, okay, you have to have healthy, normal blood sugar, not like extreme ups and downs. So healthy hormones, actually, a lot of it starts from there, and insulin. So these things are all connected, your sex hormone production. So that's why you want to make sure that you are eating mostly real foods. And of course, real foods are harder to overeat than processed foods. So that too. And the last thing why you may not be getting the results that you want is you are not allowing yourself any flexibility. I want everybody to be able to have some of the fun foods that they like once in a while. Okay, nothing bad about that. And I actually do believe that it's a good thing to have those fun foods, because if you're somebody who knows that extreme restriction makes you crazy, drives you totally crazy, then you cannot continue eating this way. You cannot continue eating no fun foods, because it's gonna just not end well. You probably are going to binge at one point. You are probably going to overeat. So that's why I recommend that you do include some of those fun foods, some of those foods that are not so clean, and there's nothing bad about it. So now let's talk real quick about two types of people. If you have read Gretchen Rubin, then you know that she has these types of people, and two of them are abstainer, and then the other one is moderator. Now, abstainers are the people who do well with not having any of those like fun foods. Let's just use this food as an example. So for them, it's easier to abstain versus like have a little bit, right? So maybe you are that person. I don't know, maybe you are. I know a couple of people who are like that and it works for them. But I would argue that more people are actually moderators if they just give themselves the opportunity to see it and see how it works for them. So moderators are able to have a little bit of this, whatever the fun food is, and then be like, okay, cool, I'm fine with it, if they use their mindfulness, right? So I for the longest time thought I'm an abstainer, like I better not touch this at all, I can't do it. And what it always ended up where it always ended up was like, finally, when I had this thing, I had to have all of it. And this is why I binge ate for 6, 7, 8 years maybe. But then I started practicing moderation. And now I'm eating a little bit of, those fun foods, and I can have them. I may have to like use a little bit of self-control because I know that it's harder with some foods to say that, okay, I'm going to stop here. So I'm going to use a little bit of self-control, but I had this piece of whatever I wanted, and now I can move on with my life. So that's why I do have something sweet every single day, whether it's some chocolate or whether it's a little bit of ice cream or anything. There's really like very few days that I don't have anything like that. Super rare. So figure out which one you are. Maybe you really are an abstainer, and then it works better for you to not have any of those foods. And I can't argue that this is a wrong way to live, but I do think that if you practice moderation, then it can be healthier for you, because you're eating a little bit of these fun foods and you just get this little bit of like satisfaction, like, oh yes, I got this, it was great, good, but I'm now gonna go back to my whole foods. So I hope this made sense for you guys. So there are 10 things that may be holding you back if you are not seeing the results that you want to see. 5 of them had to do with workouts, 5 of them with food. My main message for you today would be to do more strength training, lift heavier weights, really feel the burn in your body, and then eat mostly whole foods, eat a high protein diet, and you should start seeing the change. If you're interested in working with me, I do have a couple of coaching spots open right now, so please let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram or drop a comment here on YouTube. You can also send me an email. That's kirstenkimura@gmail.com. Whatever works best for you. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye bye.